Hi guys, I'm Michelle Antuono. I'm the owner of Octopunk Media, director-writer of Detroit Awakening. I run this channel, so if you haven't seen anything other than Detroit Awakening before, you haven't seen my face. But if you've seen other things, then you're pretty familiar with me. I have an important announcement to make about the future of this channel, the future of this company, and the future of Detroit Awakening 2 and other projects we'll be working on. If you follow me on any sort of social media, you know this information. You can probably skip this. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about the situation, but ultimately, you already know what this video is going to be about. However, this video is for YouTube followers who don't follow me on any other social media and have no idea what might be going on, especially those who've followed me in the past few days. I just want to put this out there so that you know what to expect moving forward, and you know that the situation. I apologize for this kind of coming late compared to my other social medias, but I do have to make this video, so it just took a little bit of time to get that together. But hopefully this will clear up everything. If you do have legitimate questions, I may answer some of them in the comments, so feel free to leave questions. So the news is this. About 2 weeks ago, a fan came forward to me and my mod team with evidence that our collaborator, Anaya, who played Gavin Reed in Detroit Awakening, was also in the DBH playthrough, has been on a lot of stuff on this channel, that he had sent this fan DMs over the course of 2 months that were sexually explicit, that sexualized the fan, that abused the trust that this fan had in him to sexually harass this fan. I'm not going to go into the gory details about what was said or what was sent. Ultimately, that does not really matter for reasons I will get into multiple times in this video. But the fact of the matter is, I saw the evidence. I also believed the fan even before screenshots were shown to me. And I presented the evidence to Maximilian as well, and we mutually immediately knew that we could no longer work with Ty, that just wasn't going to be something that we could ethically do, considering what he had done to this fan. So ultimately, this led to Ty being let go of all future projects, including Detroit Awakening 2. Again, I will get more into that later. Detroit Awakening 2 is still going to be on, but we do have different plans for it now. Mostly, it's still going to be Read 900 and everything. We're going to cast a new Gavin, though. He's also one of the stars of Seven Deadly Sins, which is an upcoming film that we've already finished but hasn't come out yet. And we have some future plans things we're going to have to change about that, and I'll get into that later too. We did not know that he was doing this. We didn't know that he was capable of doing this. However, it's one of those situations where the evidence was just completely overwhelming. When we confronted Ty about it, he admitted to it, and he's actually had a public statement about it as well. You can visit his Twitter at Anaya, where he has posted his statement apologizing and confessing for this thing that he did. I don't necessarily endorse everything he said in this. However, I think it is important to link you to it if you're curious about his side of the story. Also, it corroborates what I say here. So there isn't he said, she said. There's not two sides to this story or three sides to this story. We all have the same story, and it's all saying the same thing, and that is that he did it. The reason why we wanted to come out with this, though, is because we felt the fans deserved to know the truth. They deserved to know what one of the actors was capable of in interactions with them, because this really could have been anyone. This could have been any fan. And because of the nature of this incident, because of the abuse of power involved on a public figure, or from a public figure to a fan, it directly involves the fan base, and we had a responsibility as content creators with the fan base to let the fan base know what had happened. I do have a frequently asked questions section I want to go through. When this announcement was first made on Twitch on Tuesday, July 2nd, There were questions and stuff that followed in messages, and I addressed them publicly on Twitter, but I want to address them again now for you guys' benefit. The first question is, what will happen to the feature version of Seven Deadly Sins that was planned to be made later on? For those of you who are familiar with the Seven Deadly Sins project, we have made a short film of it. Ty is one of the stars. And that was supposed to come out on Patreon in September and later on YouTube in the spring of next year. That project is going to be delayed, the short release, because there are things that we now need to do to the short to modify his performance in it in a way that makes that movie watchable, for those of us who can't really stand seeing him in it anymore. But as far as the feature version that we were going to make like late next year, maybe even in 2021, that short film was supposed to be a pitch for, that will be, his role of Brian will be recast in that feature. And quite frankly, because that movie is going to be out externally funded, anybody could be recast in that, depending upon what executive producers want us to do in order to make the movie more marketable. So that honestly could have happened anyway, but we definitely, he will not be cast in any future projects, Seven Deadly Sins and beyond. Have we cast a new Gavin yet, or do we have anyone in mind for Detroit Awakening 2? As I said, our plan with Detroit Awakening 2 is to just cast a new Gavin. Maximilian and I have been looking at a couple of guys, but we can't audition anybody until we have a script, so it'll probably be about 2 to 3 weeks before we start auditions. There are a couple cool people at this point that I really hope are interested, because I really like their look, I really like their reel, but ultimately we have not reached out to anybody yet. We don't have anybody signed yet, and we will keep you guys updated on what's going to happen with that new Gavin actor within the next month or 6 weeks or so. The other thing I want to say about Detroit Awakening 2 is that we have set shoot dates and we're not planning on moving them. So there shouldn't be any delay in the production of that film. So it should come out according to plan. This one recasting is not going to throw a wrench in the whole schedule. Another question, can I see proof of the harassment? What exactly was said? Basically asking to see the screenshots. No, I think that proof enough is the severity of the consequences of his actions, meaning the fact that me, Maximilian, Michael, all of his collaborators at Octopunk are completely done with him professionally and personally. I mean, he was our friend, and there's no reason to end a friendship unless there's a good reason. And this was a good reason. And we didn't do this for shits and giggles. We did it because it had to be done. So if that isn't proof enough for you, sorry. It's also privacy protection for him, for the victim, and for his wife, because as far as I know, she hasn't seen the screenshots and she doesn't want to. That is her choice, and I want to respect that. So again, he confessed, so the need for gory details seems unnecessary. A very common question that I've had, I don't know what to do with my old artwork of him. Should I leave it up or take it down? I've had a lot of fan artists come to me, work that they did for Detroit Awakening, work that they've done of him from Twitch Things and other things that he's been in on our channel. Some people have decided to completely take the work down and delete it from the internet. Some people have decided to leave it up but remove his tags on Instagram. Some people have decided to leave it up, but they plan on redrawing it later on when we get a new Gavin, or maybe redrawing it with the canon Gavin. And then other people have just left it up and haven't done anything to it. It's kind of like, you know, I was happy to make this in the past, and I'm just going to look towards the future now. Anything you want to do with your art is valid. I respect that it is your work, and you have the right to reclaim it or do what you want with it. I don't judge you for keeping it up. If you want to keep it up, I don't think that that is a sign that you are supporting him. I think you can be very clear that if you don't want to support him, but you do want to keep your art up, that is your intention. It's in your hands, and any decision that you want to make with your artwork is valid. I have a lot of questions from people asking if I'm okay or if the victim is okay. I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. I don't want to speak on behalf of the victim, but I do know that they appreciate your support. I have a couple people asking for me to leave up certain videos of him on this YouTube channel, and not redact stuff or edit stuff. I should circle back around and talk a little bit about why I'm being asked that. In my initial statement, I talked about how there are certain things in this channel that are going to change. You might have already noticed that the DVH playthrough has been completely taken down. I really regretted having to do that. I had a lot of fun making it. It took a lot of work to make it, and it's only been up for 6 weeks. But at the same time, the entire point of that video series was to elevate and highlight Ty and his relationship with Maximilian in particular. And I didn't think it was fair to Maximilian to promote something that he no longer stands by. And on top of that, to continue promoting Ty as a person. It just seemed awkward to keep that up there because it was continuing to get views and stuff. So I took it down. There were a couple of outtakes that were heavily Ty-centric that I took down as well. I will not be taking down Detroit Awakening. Detroit Awakening is my work. I put hundreds of hours of work into it, as well as a lot of money. And obviously Maximilian, Aaron, Kristen, Dana, Austin, Michael, all of our team put in several hours of work and, you know, a lot of effort, a lot of love into that project as well. I do not feel all of that is negated by the actions of one man, and I refuse to let the actions of one man taint my work and force me to get rid of it in some way. So Detroit Awakening will remain. Other bonus features such as gag reels may be edited and re-uploaded to diminish his appearance in them a little bit. I haven't done that yet. It's probably going to be slow going and take a little bit of time. All future things on the channel that I upload, like behind the scenes stuff from Seven Deadly Sins, any more behind the scenes stuff from Detroit Awakening, will do my best to not feature him any more than absolutely necessary. We're going to really try not to use him in promotional materials for Seven Deadly Sins. I mean, this is going to color a lot of what we do moving forward. And for people who are asking me to leave certain things up, I just don't want to, guys. Like, it leaves such a bad taste in my mouth to have to see that stuff. And I have to live with the fact that he is in my movies, and I can't do anything about that. But all the other peripheral stuff, I can control. It's my space to curate. It's my space to be able to show who I want to support and elevate and associate with. And it's so soured now to have him on my channel. I don't want to do it anymore. So it's going to change. That's my decision. I've already kind of covered this before, but I have had quite a few people ask if all of this was so personal, why take it public at all? Why not just handle this completely behind closed doors, you know, quietly recast him and all of that? It's not good to keep a lid on things like this. It's not good to lie about things like this. I would have felt completely dirty letting the fan base continue to support someone without knowing the truth. The fan base admired and trusted him. And, you know, I felt like it was just best to let them know what he was capable of. Even if you believe it was a one-time thing, even if you believe that it was a mistake, as he says, it was still something he was capable of, and in theory could have happened to others, could have happened again, because he has proven that he was capable of it. So we really needed to let the fan base know. Our fans are our friends, our fans are our family, our fans are our community, and keeping a truth like this from them was never ethical, and it had to come out. And quite frankly, I think if we had kept it a secret, it would have come out anyway, and then your trust in us would have been shattered. You would have asked us why we kept this huge secret from you, why we covered up and protected for somebody who had done something like this. And that's just not something that I believe in. It's not something you think Maximilian believes in. We felt like the truth has no agenda, and that was the best route to go. So where does this leave us as a community, as a company, as human beings? I have a pretty hopeful outlook on the future. This is a rough patch, but as I said earlier, we are making the best of it. I have no doubt that Detroit Awakening 2 will continue to be the film that you guys deserve and that you guys have waited for and that you guys have supported and donated for and that you've dreamed of and envisioned. And I think that we're going to find a really good Gavin to fill the shoes of Ty. And that's not going to interrupt our progress at all. Seven Deadly Sins, the short, is going to take a little bit longer than we anticipated, but we have a really cool idea, I think, for how to modify that movie in a way that will make it completely seamless and not make you worry about all this at all. I think it will actually be a pretty triumphant, I'm hoping, way to handle what has happened, and that movie will be kind of untarnished by this event. And as far as the future goes, I am so incredibly proud and loving towards my mod team, towards our fans, towards my collaborators like Maximilian, Michael, my husband Austin. They've really proven what good souls they all are in this process. We've really been able to see the strength and the support and the love coming from a lot of people who've been with us in this journey this whole time since the very beginning, and we really appreciate that. I know that this isn't very fun news, but like I said, you deserve to know, and I hope that you continue to support us, and I see nothing but positivity in our future. Thanks, guys.